this guy's awesome. He does, he could do any type from commercial to residential to investor, bridge, any type. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Morning.
So good to see you all. So how's the week been?
Busy.
Business growing? Getting ready to set a deal? Yeah? All right, because we wanted, the one thing that I took away from last week, I wrote down, try to find one thing in particular specific to that new client that I remember them when I'm following up. And so like, for example, because we talked about the mega house, when they sign in, what is it about that person that stands out so that when I see that name, I see the person? And so I put down like one had, her little boy's name was Noah. And the name was just kind of cool because you don't hear that very often. So I said, son, 8 years old, Noah. You know, and it's like, oh, how's Noah doing? And so it was great because then she seemed to be impressed that I remembered. So anyway, I thought that was cool. And I know that, you know, we're in the process of being set up so we can start hosting open houses. But what was your take from last week?
I'll go first, I guess. You tackled it kind of in a portion with him, and he says it without actually literally saying it. From knocking on doors, to mailers, to a crap ton of signs, to emailing, Facebook, videos, numerous videos, you know, numerous tactics, like repeated. You don't just send it once, you send it numerous times. Right? So between everything, he had like 8 or 9 different mediums of getting word out, and used them repeatedly. And the significance of that is to ensure people won't forget, because when you invite people to a party, like your birthday party, you're going to make sure people are going to show up. You're going to invite them more than once, you know? And, and overall, yeah, you don't know where it's going to come from.
Oh, right.
So you gotta try to do all of them, basically.
Really fast. That was Julie. She's trying to come in, and I didn't do something right, so I.
You're not up. You closed it.
So I think that's what I did. It's like I don't see it. Oh no! Hold on a sec, okay?
And you're gonna need to pull up that link, that same link.
Now I have it in the email. Okay, so hold on here. Okay, so I just sent email.
The host is 10 minutes late with the video. That's great. Only us. That's how we roll.
Oops. Now how can I highlight this?
You just click it.
I have 2 of these, and this one doesn't have everything in it, so I'm running to my car.
Yep.
Right here, right?
Yep. But I think, are you the host?
It says you're the only one here. Invite people.
No, you've already invited. I'm not sure if that was, you're the same one, so that's right. But you need to be able to, share your screen.
All right, forgive me here.
On the left-hand side, the green.
Oh, right here.
Yep. All right, share. Okay. And then, but you need to be able to, there you go, present to everybody.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
then now send out a video, or send out a quick email saying, letting everybody know that they can log on.
All right, we should be good to go. There'll be 2 meetings here. I am so sorry. I was in a hurry, so I should have taken my time. Okay. All right, so as you were saying, Josh, then.
Okay, yeah, between all the mediums and tackling it numerous times. That's key. You don't know who's gonna come in from what. You're gonna get certain people that come in from signs, you're gonna get certain people that will see your videos, you're gonna get certain people that respond to the mailers, you're gonna get certain, and so without knowing who the buyer's gonna be, you have to tackle them all. And when you tackle them all and do it numerous times, you're guaranteeing yourself at least a minimum amount of results.
True,
and giving your best odds. And yours was the perfect testament. You tackled each of them, and you didn't have an overwhelming amount from any one, but it was the
But
addition
enough,
of all of them.
yeah. And the other thing, Fred, from yesterday's meeting that we are going to be doing is that we're going to be creating a resource list. So say like I'm doing an open house during the summer, how perfect to do an ice cream social. And so one of our agents has a vendor that they use. If we want to do something a little bigger, we've got a guy that does an amazing barbecue. We also have a resource for like the bouncy house. I mean, it would be great to have a list from all of you of things that you have done and who you have used. Because I might want to do that at one of my open houses. And so we're going to create a resource list and have it on file so that we all have access to who that vendor might be. So I thought that was the other thing that was cool. All right? We're going to be in session 6 today.
Oh, I got this one from Josh a long time ago, and it only goes to session 3. So I went out to grab my other one, and I must have confused them and left that one at home, because I kind of have like one in my car and one at home.
Do you want to use one of our new ones then?
I'll
right
look
here?
at one for today,
Sure,
yeah.
sure, absolutely.
So
So that was the other thing that I took away, is what people were sharing yesterday, what they have done in their open houses. And again, talking about the farming, Julie has some great things that her and John have done in the past that have generated new leads, not to mention that people are so impressed that they've been calling her to be their realtor. And it's like, and that's the whole purpose and stuff. So let's go ahead and get started then with session 6 and see what he has to say about developing your geographic farm, okay?
Sorry about that.
Well, welcome back. I know you're in massive action and the breakthroughs are happening all around you. Congratulations. I want to start with a question. Are you starting each day writing out what you're grateful for? Are you doing that? Now, why is that so important? Because when you start your day feeling good, you perform good. On the flip side, I asked you in session 1 to be writing down your affirmation every day for the income goal you desire. People ask me, why is that so important? Should I be focused on the money? Well, in business, that's one of the ways we measure our success. You want to make more money, correct everybody? Of course we do. So by writing that affirmation, you're actually activating your reticular activating system. This is a wonderful thing in every one of our minds that simply causes us to focus on what we want. So by writing it down, you actually focus on finding all the ways to make it happen. Do you want to earn that big bucks? Do you want to make the money? Of course you do. So we got to write it down every day to focus our mind on what we want the most. Now, switching gears from that, how many of you would like to become the go-to agent in a community, subdivision, or building that you want to market to? Who wants to make that happen? Wonderful. So if you're going to become the agent, and by the agent I mean the person that gets every opportunity to be on a listing appointment and ultimately take the listings and make sales, that's what we want to focus on today. And just like your past clients and centers of influence, by following this marketing campaign, you're actually going to create another annuity of business. Wouldn't it be nice to have another way that you're attracting new listings every single month? Is that what you're up for? Is that a breakthrough we all want to experience? Well, that's exactly why today we're going to work on developing your geographic farm. Like me, I'm sure you've read all the latest reports from the National Association of Realtors talking about how consumers are selecting their real estate professional. Just like I'd mentioned reviews to you in an earlier session, it's critical that we look at becoming a dominant geographic farming agent. Why? Because consumers want to work with the local professional. People really want the expert, and when it comes to working at Geographic Farm, we're going to help you become that expert. Sound good? Wonderful. So today we're going to work on 4 things. Number 1, how to select the ideal farm. You know, that selection process of which home should I go after, which buildings or subdivisions. Number 2, a marketing plan to become the agent in that community, in that building, in that subdivision. Number 3, a proven marketing strategy to attract listings where you have a buyer, but there's no inventory. And number 4, how to go after the lost sellers in that community. So let's begin with selection. It's always best to start out where you have a track record of sales, or if you're newer to the business, where your company has a dominant brand name recognition. Take a minute right now, and I want you to write down in your notes which community, which building, or which subdivision have you had recent sales in, or perhaps the most sales in, that you would love to become the dominant listing agent in. Go ahead and write that down right now.
When we're done with this, have we done the, actually looked up the farming thing in a while?
Whether you're newer to the business or you're an experienced agent starting a new farm, the process of selection is exactly the same. There are 4 guidelines to selecting the right farm. In your workbook, you'll see, number 1, picking a number of homes that you're comfortable marketing to. By comfortable, I mean either financially in terms of your budget or the time it would take to market by knocking on doors. Number 2, the big one, is inside that community, what's the annual turnover? Specifically, we're looking for communities where there's 6% or higher annual turnover. So if you have an area that say has 500 homes, we're looking for 6% or 30 transactions a year, giving you a big enough market to find your place in it. Number 3, ideally, you want to be working in an area that is not guard gated, allowing you easy access to market to. Now, if you're in the city, you know the drill. It's mail only, you can't door knock. But if you're not in the city and you have an opportunity to work in an area where you can knock on doors and shake hands and create relationships, I encourage you to do that over a guard-gated community where you simply cannot. Number 4, you've got to know the competition. By reviewing the MLS, you can see if there's a dominant agent in that community or not. If there's no dominant agent in the community, there will be soon, and that's you. If there is an agent who's doing well, I promise you, we can beat them with the marketing plan we're going to discuss today. Now, a few great resources for getting the data. Write this down in your notes. Number 1, talk to your manager or your broker about those different communities and their recommendations. In addition, your settlement service provider can also help you with collecting some of the data to make those better decisions about which communities you want to go after. Now, let's shift gears and talk about your marketing plan. To become the agent in the community, we have found that 2 contacts a month, write that down, 2 contacts a month, either in the form of a mailer, a door drop, an open house invitation, or by knocking on their door 2 times a month, will cause you to become the most recognizable agent and give you a fighting chance at winning every listing opportunity. So let's break down the ideal marketing plan that's going to cause you to win. Write down, again, 2 touches a month, 2 contacts a month. So in a perfect world, in the first week of the month, we're going to send that prospect a just listed or a just sold or a basic real estate newsletter, which I'll be showing you several samples of today. And in the 3rd week, we would send them a market update. We've all seen these before. It shows the active listings, the pendings, the recent sales, the closings, and of course, the prices. So Both of these can be mailed or dropped off by you through door knocking or through a delivery service. All of this will be decided based upon sweat equity or check equity. Remember, sweat equity is us rolling up our sleeves and doing the work, where check equity is us writing those checks to delegate it to someone else. By the way, I bet your company has access to some mailing services and maybe some special opportunities and promotions you can take advantage of. So make sure you ask your manager about that sometime this week. They'll also have approved marketing pieces that they want you to use that you can look at ours as well as theirs as we're mixing up that marketing message. I'd like you to go ahead and pause the session right now and look at all of the marketing pieces we've included inside your workbook. Remember, there's a lot more back at tomferry.com. But as we're talking about geographic farming today, we've included a bunch of great samples that are working for our customers today that you are more than welcome to do your best to modify, tweak, and adjust and make your own. As many of the great agents will tell you, once they find something that's working by another one of their peers, the natural plan is to just cut their head off, put yours on, change the phone number, and hit print. So take a few minutes right now, pause the session, and take a look at those pieces.
All right. Okay. Let me, if you don't mind, can I go ahead and walk you through something really fast? Because this is something that's so important. Okay. There's a reason why, in my opinion, farming is the most impactful thing you can do. Okay, and it's by compounding your efforts, which he hits on staying in contact and stuff like that. I'm just gonna narrow it down just a little more. Let's see here. Actually, here, Mom, go ahead and you do it. Okay, let's use yours. So go ahead and pull up the MLS. Okay, so this is the key when looking for your key farming area. Okay, and we'll pull up your neighborhood just to kind of show the difference between them, because you have an awesome neighborhood. The farm quality has nothing to do with how good a neighborhood is. As a matter of fact, it's almost opposite. The better a neighborhood is, the less turnover it has, so probably the less likely it's going to be a good neighborhood, because people don't move. You want an area that has a lot of activity, right? And in some cases, okay, on the surface it sounds like, oh, let's sell $400,000 homes. So let's all focus in Scottsdale. Let's focus in your higher end community. What's the flaw with that logic? There's really two of them.
Okay, say that one more time.
If focusing on a Scottsdale or your like most recognizable neighborhoods.
Everybody's there.
Okay, number one, you're flooded with agents. Okay, you'd rather be a big fish in a small pond than be a small fish in a big pond, right?
Would you rather make 10,000 or 5,000?
Exactly. And number two, the higher price points.
That's the price. They're pricey.
They don't have as much activity. You're not going to have as many buyers in the $450,000 price point or higher as opposed to the $250,000. So you're better off probably choosing just a great basic neighborhood of a decent size that has lots of turnover. That's all you care about, and it's your business, right? Mm-hmm. Why open a storefront in a place that gets no business?
Yeah.
When you know it, wouldn't you rather go to the one that gets a lot of business? You know. So okay, so let's go ahead and do a quick search. And the way I normally start off is going to the county assessor or Monsoon. Okay, you go ahead and pull up Monsoon really fast. Okay.
You gonna go by zip code or?
Let me just look here.
Well, go to menu. Yeah.
So if I go to menu, come down here.
Yeah, right. And just go ahead and start. Make it one of your top ones. Hit the star right there on your right. So
Right
where your
here?
mouse is. No. Right there where taxes. Go down. See Monsoon. Right there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Click that one. There you go. Now it's going to be up at the top.
Okay.
Okay. Now go ahead and click it. All right. So you want to find a decent sized neighborhood, right? Okay. Knowing that your goal is to get about a 30% market share. Okay. That's the regular goal. If you can exceed that, wonderful. But you can count on, if doing things right, you're going to get about a 30%. So if our goal is to have find a neighborhood that has at least 6% sales, and let's say we want to get at least 30 sales a year. How many homes does our neighborhood have to have minimum? So we want 30 sales at 6% conversion.
Well, he says that you have to look at, there have to have been 30 transactions in the past year.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah. Well, that's minimum, but if we want, okay, so let's just say, well, let's just start there, okay?
Okay.
The neighborhood has 30 sales, knowing that there's a 6% of them that move. How big is that neighborhood?
18,000.
Right about there, yeah. Yep. Okay, hold on, let's make sure here.
Because if
We've
you
got,
take 6 times 30,
yep, you got 6
you have
divided.
180 there. And so, excuse me.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, you got 30. What was it divided by 0.06?
Or is that 50 actually?
500.
Okay.
So 5.
So you need at
5,000.
least 500, so 5,000, right, if it's 0.06,
That would be 300.
over.
Why is this not lining up in my head right now? I'm just not awake at the moment. Okay, 100 would be 6, so 500. Duh, yes. Alright, sorry. So 500 homes minimum would bring 30 sales, okay? On a 6%, if 6% of them move. Okay, on that level though, you want a third of those, okay? Can you make a living off of 10 sales? You probably can.
Yeah.
But here's the beauty about farms. You can start off with 500, dominate it, then expand to your next 500. Dominate it, then add in your next 500, dominate it. It's a predictable, scalable thing. And when you add in the open houses, your door knocking, your actual mailers, everything else that you do, the fact that you can target them in Facebook. I mean, you can actually target that little area in Facebook and show up all over their feeds. It's insane. So you own them. It's awesome, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and choose, for example, let's a big one off the top of your head.
You mean like Arrowhead Ranch or something that huge, or maybe something, how about around my home in there in Carroll?
There you go.
Okay, so I'm gonna I'll just put,
Yeah, Mom, that neighborhood over there was perfect. The average price was right around 200,000. Perfect activity, and it was a Alright, so Continental Meadows North. Okay? So now let's pop over, and what you can do right off the surface to see how big it is now that we know it's Continental Meadows North, stay in Monsoon, okay?
Okay, but
But
I'm gonna
go
go
do
back.
a new search.
okay, so I'm gonna go back
No,
here.
no,
Oh.
stay in Monsoon,
Sorry.
but see right there, right underneath tax search on the right. There you go. Okay, now on the left-hand side, subdivision name there, Continental Meadows.
Right here, let's
Go
see.
down, yep.
Yeah, subdivision.
And just do north.
North?
Okay, and this will give you a rough guesstimate. Go and scroll up. Okay, 574 properties, that neighborhood. Okay, so it's a good start, and she could own it, you know? 500 is a good chunk. Then you get to neighborhoods like some price farms that have 12,000, you know? If you
Well,
can own that one, that would be
wanna-
wonderful.
Yeah, I wanna know about the 7,390,000.
Okay, and now some of these
But
are
that
the
includes-
developers
yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that from back in the day, yeah. Or bulk purchases. There's a lot of factors to it, but it gives you a rough guesstimate. You know, most of those are the houses. So give or take 10 or 15 probably. All right. So we know it's 500 homes. It's big enough to warrant her time and effort. If it only had 100 homes, not going to be worthwhile. You know, if it has 2,000 homes, we're going to need to just tackle it accordingly, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and go back.
All right, so if I may though, just really fast, look at the consistency of the pricing. That's what I think is really kind of cool. And
Perfect.
little by little, you can see how just, how the pricing, the market has gone and stuff. So, anyway, all right.
Okay,
for
so
two-
now we know that our basis is 500 homes. Like if we see in the last year 12 sold, what does that mean if we don't know how many there are in the neighborhood? Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so now let's go back to the MLS.
Okay, so, all right, so let me see, who do we have in,
Top, Google Hands right there. See, it's your third icon.
right here,
Yeah.
okay.
Um, we missed it, unfortunately.
Okay, my fault. Cause I'm hoping it was Julie.
It could. Okay. She probably messaged. Go. Your screen sharing. So go down to the bottom really. Oh no, that's your other icon. Never mind.
I'll hide this.
Stop screen. Well, no. Stop screen sharing really quick. Go to the left. Yeah, that one works. Pull up the chat. How do you pull up the chat? No. Left. Left.
Oh, left.
Up. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm not sure how to. I don't know if anybody. Is there any way to redo it? I don't think so. Okay.
Just ask Judy.
But they're not. Nobody else is in, so I'm not sure they can see it if they're not in. Okay. Well, nonetheless, let's. Oh.
I'm sorry, I thought you wanted to go back. So
Yeah.
where do you wanna go?
Okay. So now that okay, so to get back to it, in order, we just want to make sure it's a good enough farm. So all the numbers correlate. Okay. So if we're gonna go check sheet by check sheet, so to keep this on an organized manner. Okay. First thing you want to do is find your neighborhood and make sure it's, number one, large enough to even warrant your time and effort. If it's 65 homes, it's a good start, but you're gonna need more, you know? If it's 15,000 homes, that's a whole different ballgame.
So
Start with
500 is
500
like
or
a
so.
good-
Exactly, okay? And this is how now we're gonna go back to the MLS and we're gonna see the number of sales and actually be able to associate that with something, okay? It might be 2 homes, but without knowing how many there are, we can't do anything, okay? So now let's go quick search, and when we do it, we want obviously active, pending, and sold. But what we want to do as far as timelines, we want to know
Last
what.
6 months,
Mhm.
no?
What's the goal of what we're trying to figure out right now?
In the last year.
But why? What are we trying to figure out
We want,
specifically?
okay, we're looking to see, has there been like 30 deals in the last year?
Yeah, we're not looking for what they've sold for per se right now, or to find comps for what we're helping a client. We want to see exactly how
All right.
many have there been in the last year. Exactly.
So then I'm gonna go ahead and put in Continental Meadows, right?
Yep.
Do I need to specifically say north?
Yep. Yeah, that is actually a huge subdivision when you incorporate
That's
all the
true.
different phases of it.
And
Well, I don't wanna
then,
look for Gilbert or Mesa, cause I'm here in Phoenix. So
Exactly.
you wanna look where you're at.
Exactly, yeah, if it could be the neighborhood you live in, all the better, hands down. But, for example,
But you go with a 10-mile radius.
yeah, as long as you can be the quote-unquote expert, that's all that's expected. You gotta stay up on the comps, you gotta stay up on the activity, and you'll be the expert.
all right, so now somebody's in, so hold on.
Let's see.
Okay, no, go
Oh,
back
yeah,
here.
we're not sharing the screen anymore either, are we? Go for it.
Oh, okay, so let me go back here, let's see, where's my share? Right here.
Yep. And then share, and then go up to the top after that, and share present to everybody. Perfect. There you go. Okay, now we're going
All right, so where was I? Right here?
back. MLS.
Oh, no, MLS. Now, look at this, 32.
There we
So
go.
we're gonna, do we need to, so we need to
Well-
look at those, or do we need to look at those?
Well, it changed. Number one, did we?
Cause I did Continental Metals,
Yep, perfect.
and
Okay.
then I changed this to a year.
Yep, perfect. Okay. So let's go ahead and
So-
check it out.
All right.
See how many of those sold and how many of them are active, etc.
All right, so active,
Nice.
yeah, this
Okay.
is a busy, look, that close.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right. Okay. So let's figure out the numbers really fast. How many active? How many pending? And how many closed?
all right. Now, do you wanna do it from here, or just quickly pull up the CMA, and then, cause
That
that
works.
has it,
Okay.
all right. So if I do this.
Because this is where you're going to be able to put all the numbers together. We're going to say, we'll make a decision of whether or not this is a good farm, bad farm, mediocre farm.
All
Okay.
right, so you have 2 active, 1 under, 4 pending, and 25 have closed.
Okay. So, where do we want to start?
As-
Well, let's
With,
figure out, okay, they've had 25 closed in the last year, so
Mhm.
let's figure out what percent that is.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
approximately 576.
I'm hoping it's Julie.
Alright.
All right, so.
Alright, so whoever just logged in, we're actually running a neighborhood comp to see if Mom's former neighborhood is a good neighborhood to do a farm.
78%. So if you take the 25 out of the 32.
No, we wanted the proportion of the neighborhood as a whole.
Oh.
We want it to be at least 6% ideally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And we said it was 500,
I think
is that
570
574?
approximately. Yep.
Okay, so 25.
Yeah, it should be just under 5.
Yeah, 4.4.
4.4. Okay, that's not great, not
But
horrible.
it's right there, it's close enough.
Okay,
All right, I think this would be a good area to farm.
let's keep running the numbers to just verify. Okay, and so that's the first one. So 4.4 is not great, but it's not terrible. Now we got the price point. You see that it's a decent price point that has average activity days on the market. Look at the actives compared to the solds, right? If you see your average active day is like 6 months, that's not ideal either. You want homes that are
But
selling. You know what I mean?
You're looking at, because it says average day as far as active, 126, so that's like 4 months.
Yeah, but sold is only 53.
Yeah.
That's much better. The homes
Yeah,
that are selling
yeah.
are what we're really
Okay.
concerned about. But there's only 2 active. What can we extrapolate from only 2 active? And realistically, there are 5 really pending, and the 25 sales. What can we figure out from that? And this is actually kind of cool.
Now, tell me what you guys think, but it tells me that there aren't enough homes and that people are looking in that neighborhood and there aren't enough homes.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so we hear this thrown out a lot. We have 3 months supply. We only have 2 months supply. We have 1 month supply. What does that mean?
That if every single home were to sell, you would be out of homes in 2 months. You would be out of
Yeah.
homes in 3 months. or
If
whatever.
not, if we take the amount of homes today and not add any new homes,
Yes.
we will run out of homes in 2 months, or whatever it might be, okay?
Yeah.
So we have 25 sales in the last year, okay, divided by 12 months, that's 2.08 sales per month. How many months supply do you have in that neighborhood right now? Technically not even a whole month,
Oh, I was
technically.
gonna say.
If they sell just a hair over 2 a month, then if there's only 2 active homes, that's actually a lot of activity. Yeah. So the fact that it's only 4% sucks, but almost every other number makes this a worthwhile neighborhood. Because if you have any listings right now, chances are it's gonna sell within a month.
But this is where you're gonna do the door knocking
Uh-huh.
and it's like, I'm gonna say, I wanna list your house, have you thought about
Oh,
selling?
now you're talking about farming, like, not farming, sorry, circle prospecting, right? Well, look at that, okay? Look at what's sold and what's amazing about that. And then scroll down to the sold so you can actually see it. What's the highest
The
sold?
number date, or are you talking about like,
Yep, well, look at the, go to
What am I looking
the,
at?
the sold/list price. It's between sold price and square feet.
right here?
Yeah, okay? That's the percent that it sold for, right? So the lowest sold for 90% of asking price. What did the highest sell for?
Oh my gosh, oh, so over by about, sorry, by 10%.
It sold for 10% over asking price. Yeah, scroll down and let's find that one. Because if you're gonna do any ads about something or call somebody and get anybody excited about their neighborhood, that would be the one to use. So, let's look for the one. We got 218.5 and it was listed for 215, 200 sold for 190, it was listed for 199. 224 was listed for 2039. There it is.
Wow.
How much per square foot?
It's the one on Purdue Avenue, 3342
Right here,
West
right
Purdue.
here.
Yep. Okay, so let's go back to the MLS and you can take a look at it if you want. But if you're gonna circle prospect, I would let the neighbors know about that house.
Okay, so if I go back, hold on.
Yeah. Okay, so what have we really figured out about this neighborhood?
This is a great place to farm.
Yeah, but be a little more specific, you know, like, I know I said it to you
Oh,
guys, but
okay.
verbalize it kind of back to me. What are some of the features about this neighborhood, good and bad?
Well, the fact that I know the area is several things, where it's at, okay? So the community is an excellent place,
Good.
okay?
Okay?
The fact that there aren't enough homes and people obviously are looking because we only have 2 active, but when you look at how just in the last year that 25 have sold, so that tells me, I need to know if you're ready to sell. Because, because here's the other thing too, is there's a very good possibility that you will get top dollar.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There's a lot
And then
of reasons. I mean,
the
the
other
supply and
reason-
demand is
yeah,
huge on this one.
Yeah, the other thing that's going on is because there are gonna be rate changes, and like now's the time to finance a home.
Oh yeah, you're selling the neighborhood, which is
Okay,
wonderful.
sorry.
You've taken it beyond where, once you get the neighborhood, that's all perfect, exactly. How are you gonna sell it? But overall, this one, yeah, supply and demand's there. The price point is actually a hair below average. People are looking for $200,000 homes. Yeah, and the fact that 1 month supply, if you add any listings, it's great. Your average sold is barely 53 days. And the 2 that are active, that one on Malapai or whatever has been listed for 200 days, that's way, way, way overpriced. I mean, yeah, so a lot of things added up, okay? So we found the numbers, we found the average, you know what you wanna do. Now, here's the one thing, Fred, if you haven't seen this yet, it's one of the most affordable ways to send mailers out. And it may not tackle your farm perfectly, but it will line up in some way, shape, or form. And if you could offset the other part with the door knocking or whatever, here's where it's awesome. Can you, okay, open a new window. And do Everdoor Direct. And be careful when you go to Everdoor Direct, because, go ahead, yeah, just click on it there.
Let's see, which one do I want?
The top
Let me
there.
just do it
Yeah.
right here.
Okay, now hold on, don't click anything. Okay, see, just like Mom immediately went to that first one, it says Everdoor Direct Mail, okay? But there's only one Everdoor Direct. It's by the post office.
Yes.
Do not click on anything, do not use anybody but the post office, because they're obviously gonna charge a surcharge and charge you differently for it.
This one
Okay?
right here.
So, yeah, you'll see the one actual USPS right there, okay. Alright, and then the mapping tool. So this is what's really, really neat, is the way Everdoor Direct works is, you go on the mail route. Instead of the mail person having to look at every address, every single name, making sure it lines up, they literally just hand that the mail provider, here's your packet, and as they go down, ting, 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 they don't have to think about it, they don't have to do anything, there's no wrong addresses, and so they give us a huge discount because it's mindless sorting, you know what I mean? So, you just have to find the one that best suits your thing, so go ahead. And, yeah, if you know the address, it makes it really easy. But what's really kind of neat about this, too, is it gives you the full demographics of the neighborhood. The average income, how many businesses, how many houses, everything. And you can see how it varies route to route. It really is
Now, let's
interesting.
prospect the whole United States. but
Okay,
I-
so go ahead and hover. Okay, I guess
Actually,
click
wait a
on
minute.
one of them.
Let
You have
me
to click.
do
Click.
right here.
No, on any of the neighborhoods, just click. There we go. Okay, so when you click on it, that's that route right there. This one has 495 residential, 1 business for a total of 496. The ages are that. The size, the average household has 3.25 people. They make that much money. And so the cost to mail to all those 495 people, $88.29. And so go ahead and click the one next to it, and you'll see how they vary.
Whoops.
Okay, so this one has 591 plus 24 businesses, and you'll see the average income's a little more, and this cost is 109.
And isn't that interesting? And that's just on the other side of 47. Or is it, yeah, 47 and stuff, going up to 51st, I think, yeah. And so there's a change in income, which I think is great, because when you're driving the neighborhood, you actually see the difference in the houses.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so does it kind of make sense? This was a really, really quick way to show you how to put together a farm. But you just have fun. Have fun looking for the best neighborhood. If you find one that has 7%, there are neighborhoods that have 8-9% people moving per year. And on a scale of 1,000 homes, that makes a big difference. So find the best one. Don't be stuck to any particular neighborhood. It's a business decision. It's an investment decision. Go for the one that's going to give you the best return. Your time is your time. You can only knock on so many doors per hour. Make sure that the best doors to be knocking on.
I'm in such a weird area where I live. If I go just north, it gets really expensive really fast. Like,
Yeah.
and then if you go just south, you're in the ghetto.
Yeah.
So I'm literally on the one road, it's River Road, and it's like the dividing line between north and south.
Well, it's like the same thing here. 47, there's a difference when you're on the east side versus the west, because look at this. This is 46,226, whereas over here, 33.
All right.
So, it's like.
Yeah. Okay, so really fast to finish up that, because he's talking about his market plan, I know he's probably going to talk about some of this, but here's how we milk a farm, okay? We all know we should be doing a couple open houses a month. They only take 3 or 4 hours, and it's the best way to get face to face. But especially in a farm, you're putting out 30 to 40 signs. You're allowing them to see your face. They're coming through, right? So if they see you once a week, do an open house in that neighborhood, just once a week, they will see your signs on a regular basis for a couple hours. Over time, they will be able to see your face. People always love their neighborhood. Half the people that come into open houses are stupid neighbors. Okay, so it is a long-term play. Over the 12 months, you're gonna be that person, right? So if you're gonna do a farm, do it for, it's a 6-month play to build, and then 6 months plus, it's actually paying you back decently, okay? So, there you go, 6 to 12 months. But 12 months, you are rocking. If you can stick to it for your whole 12 months, I guarantee you're good, okay? So 1 open house a week.
And then, like he said,
Okay.
though, 2 contacts a month.
Okay, in some way, shape, or form. So here's what's awesome is that by partnering with a title company or whatever, you can get all the basics done. How many holidays are there?
I think we figured there's 6 basics, and then give or take the extras.
Okay? And then what he said, you need a generic ad. This is where most agents screw up. You want to be creative and unique on every single advertisement. That's not necessary. Duplicating ads and basic advertisements is more affordable and actually more effective because it's the repetition that makes you stick out. So have a quarterly ad that you can send out and it's repeated. It's just a basic advertisement for you, your services, why people should use you, a couple testimonials or whatever it is, right? And have that sent out quarterly. Okay? Between holidays and your quarterly personal ad, that's a lot of mailers, okay? And then whenever you're going to be doing open houses and stuff like that, you're going to be supplementing that with door knocking, other mailers, different things of that nature, right? Hey, Fred.
Hi, Fred.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep, can you hear us?
Yeah, I had a hard time getting logged in, but I finally did it.
Well, thank you.
All right, and then last but not least,
You guys are awesome, man.
Working on it.
okay, so you got your open house ads that you're going to be doing, right? Your door knocking, your emailers, stuff. You got your Facebook that you can target that area in particular. Between all of these things, are you going to hit what's the number that they say minimum? No less than 18, but ideally up to 36 times.
A year.
Okay? Between all of those, 1 a week, that's 50 open houses. Your ads that you're going to be sending out to them, that's 1 a week, basically. Holidays, extra, quarterly, keep them updated. And then last but not least, what's the one thing that we're missing?
Our video.
Oops, I can't type. Market update.
Because I was gonna,
Comps.
yes,
Yep.
yeah. Because if you have, if you create like 6 months and have like something special that you're doing, you already know what you're gonna do on a quarterly basis. But what I love especially here, and I don't know what Tucson would have, but like with the spring training, so I provided the calendar, the schedule for spring training, knowing in March, or maybe it was February, March, I put together stuff you need for your taxes, because you're getting ready, you know, it has to be done by. So I had like a theme, and then I also included, just for your information, you know, here are the comps in our area. And so I had something special every month, and one of our partners helped create, so I had some that were like half flyers, I had full flyers, you know, a variety of what do you call it, different presentation, so it wasn't the same every month. So it had my thing on the front, and it had their advertising on the back. And then, but it only cost me, you know, $84 a month to send to those 500 homes. And so yeah. So anyway, it's you know, it's another possibility.
Yeah.
And stuff. So I'm gonna get us back here, okay? Whoops, where are we at? Lunch. Free lunch. Okay, hold on, where am I at? Why am I not working? Oh, here we go. All right, why is that not
Oh, that's the other window. Go down to your Chrome window on the bottom. Right there on the bottom, so there's two open. It's the second one.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Oh, we're starting it again.
So, the other thing too is tying that in with the
Your
old,
place.
like the yard sales, like Julie was saying
Yes,
yesterday.
yes. Or to have that
Events,
theme,
yeah.
events,
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna try and see where we're at here, folks. Does anything look familiar?
Check equity is us writing those checks to delegate it to someone else. By the way, I bet your company has access to some mailing services and maybe some special opportunities and promotions you can take advantage of. So make sure you ask your manager about that sometime this week. They'll also have approved marketing pieces that they want you to use that you can look at ours as well as theirs as we're mixing up that marketing message. I'd like you to go ahead and pause the session right now and look at all of the marketing pieces we've included inside your workbook. Remember, there's a lot more back at tomferry.com, but as we're talking about geographic farming today, we've included a bunch of great samples that are working for our customers today that you are more than welcome to do your best to modify, tweak, and adjust, and make your own. As many of the great agents will tell you, once they find something that's working by another one of their peers,
He calls
the
it
natural plan is
R&D.
you just cut their head
It's
off,
not research
put
and
yours
development,
on,
it's rip
change
off
the
and
phone number,
duplicate.
and hit print.
Okay?
So
Anytime
take
you
a few
see
minutes right
anything
now,
you
pause
like
the
the
session,
Yikes
and take a
campaigns,
look at
anything,
those pieces.
seriously. Switch heads, switch bodies, put it in there, use it. Yeah. We're good.
So I'm gonna go ahead and move this on.
Not just
Oh, here we go.
So now that you've taken the time to review these sample pieces, my hope is that you're inspired with some new ideas and marketing pieces that you can begin to use to win the business you want in that new farm or your existing farm. Now, I want to show you a strategy that thousands of our clients have used to win a listing in a new farm or in an area where there's no inventory. We call it the Yikes campaign. Now, the question is, how do I attract?
There's gotta be a way to mute it on our end.
Hello, Fred? 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 Cause he,
If you mute the microphone, I think he's not gonna be able to hear anything, right?
cause I think we tried that with Julie and that didn't work.
Yeah, I think he's the one that has to mute it on his end.
All right, let me find the man, hold on.
It's okay, it's quiet now.
Maybe he just left, okay.
It's,
all right.
it's the reverb, unfortunately, of ours.
Okay.
His speaker's picking up the microphone.
Track that first listing? Well, if you're working with a buyer, this program is really hot. It's going to generate a lot of come list me calls. If you're not working with a buyer, you can modify this marketing piece where you can just simply talk about the lack of inventory for sale and that perhaps the last home that sold had lots of interested parties, but only one person was able to buy the home. Let's take a look at the piece inside your workbook. Again, you can see that big headline, yikes. Now what's funny is when you use this piece and you have that big yikes, you will get the occasional phone call from a customer saying, why did you say yikes? Why was that so big? And of course the response is, well, it did catch your attention, didn't it? Right? Just that simple thought that it caught.
It might be. It's the reverb.
Caught your attention, it caused you to read this simple little piece, but let's look at the piece and hear the story. In this particular case, this client is representing a buyer who has recently sold their home, and there's no inventory in the community where the buyer wants to live. Have you ever experienced that before? We all have. So in this case, we're getting the buyer's permission to use their information on the marketing piece. So you've got to ask the buyer, you know, buying a home is collaborative.
Can you hear me, Charlotte?
Inventory that I use your information.
Yes,
as a
I
way to
can,
create
Fred.
an
Can you
emotional lever
mute your
with the
computer,
consumers
though?
in that area. So
Well, I'm using my computer. Oh, muted, okay.
I have someone
I can't hear,
I mean, just,
Go ahead and pause it.
if you get your buyer's
Don't pause
permission,
it.
No, go ahead
this
and pause it
marketing
while you're
piece
talking.
is extraordinary.
I'm sorry, hold on a sec here.
Alright, he just needs to mute his microphone. That's it.
Fred,
'Cause-
can you mute your microphone?
I think he did now. Or not. Because that, he needs to just hit that microphone button up there. You can't, but
Okay,
he needs to.
okay, all right, so we'll just go back there.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
So let's take a look at the piece. It says, yikes, your neighbor's home at 5392 Bonanza Lane just went into escrow, and our buyer, Susan Pinkstaff, missed it. Now, if you're watching this, you're saying, but I don't have a buyer named Susan Pinkstaff. Hello? Change it to the appropriate buyer, and if you don't have a buyer, you can just say, the home down the street sold with multiple offers. There were more people interested in buying than there are homes for sale. So you just modify the headline. In this case, he goes in to say, Susan has just sold her home of almost 30 years just across Warner Avenue and wants to downsize to Fernhill, her favorite community. If you have any thoughts of selling, please give us a call. Susan is ready to go and she's a cash buyer. Now from here, he basically goes on to sell the benefits of his buyer. Now in marketing, my friends, the more transparent we can be, the more real we can be, the better response we're going to get. We've all heard the magic buyer letter that goes back decades that sounded something like this. This is not a solicitation for your listing. We have a buyer, you never tell us who they are, you never tell us what they're about. That piece worked for a while, but today's consumers, they're simply not going to follow up on that. They're looking for something more real. So if you could add a photo of your clients, right? Here's Tom and Kathy Ferry, here's Michael and Stephen, and here's their 2 dogs. That photo added to the yikes will really make their heart sing. Now, it's not going to cause someone that doesn't want to sell. It's just going to cause the person that's thinking about selling to call you. And I promise, when they call you, I know you'll convert. So let's talk about how do we use the yikes campaign. I wrote down for you, obviously, you can mail this out. And sitting right here in our studio audience, we've got people that are mailing out the yikes campaign and getting come list me calls every time they do. In addition to mailing it, if sweat equity is your model, you can door knock with it, and inside that new farm, use the hot market dialogue if it's appropriate. So let's take a look at that dialogue, and if you choose to knock on doors, or perhaps use this in a modified way in the form of an email or even a newsletter, how it could work. So knock, knock, knock. Hi, my name is Tom and I'm with company. How are you today? I wanted to give you a quick update on the real estate market. We were that last month in our community right here. We had 5 sales, of which 2 sold for above asking. Were you aware of this? And today we have more buyers than we have properties for sale. So I was curious, have you had any thoughts of selling? Now, that wonderful little question, if you had any thoughts of selling, remember when we learned that question before during our coffee meetings? When you ask that question, what's so important is you just stop and watch. Because if you say to someone, if you had any thoughts of selling, and they go, there's a pretty good chance they've had thoughts of selling. But if they just jump out with, no, we love our place, no problem. Do you happen to know anybody who's had any thoughts of selling? If they say no, you say, thanks so much. If I can ever be of service, here's my card, here's my information, and you're on your way. What I love about this dialogue is you could also hand them the yikes piece and incorporate it. You know, I'm representing Susan Pinkstaff. She's a buyer, she desperately wants to live in this community. Were you aware that right now we had 5 sales last month? 2 of them sold above asking with multiple offers. Susan tried to write an offer, or Susan wrote an offer on one of those properties and simply didn't write enough. Even though she wrote above asking price, it wasn't enough. Do you know anyone who's had thoughts of selling? That little modified version with your Yikes campaign will go a long way inside your Geographic Farm. All right, let's talk about one last strategy. Inside your Geographic Farm, there is potentially expired listings and old expired listings that have never sold. Now, if it's your Geographic Farm,
Is your battery dying?
You can let them know about the changes in the market and how perhaps putting their home on today might actually produce a better result. There may also be in your Geographic Farm a for sale by owner. Now, I don't know how you feel about for sale by owners. Personally, when I see FSBO, I think of fastest source of business opportunity. Isn't it funny how you change the language, you change your focus? To me, for sale by owners are people that just simply haven't met you. They haven't taken the time to get to know you and the marketing you can do to get their home sold. So the good news is, on our website, I placed a special file just for you called Working Expireds and For Sale by Owners. If you have the desire and you want to add these marketing campaigns to your plan, then go to our website today and review everything there. You're going to be really happy you did, especially if you want listings right away inside your Geographic Farm. So let's talk about our assignments as we wrap up. Number 1, I want you to continue to write out your gratitude list and your financial affirmations every day. My friends, I just cannot stress to you enough. If you start your day every day in a state of gratitude, you're going to feel good. And when you feel good, do you perform better? Yes or no? So when you feel good, you perform good. And the fastest way to feel good is to write down everything in your life you're grateful for. This morning, I spent 5 minutes just writing down, I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for the home I live in. And you know what? It's funny. The more I write it down, the more love and connection I have to the things that are already working in my life. So much of this program Breakthrough is about shifting your focus, about getting you to think about what is possible so you can break through that glass ceiling. One of the great mistakes I see agents making up here is more often than not, when you ask what's going on, we tell us about all the things that aren't working in our lives. Have you guys ever been guilty of that before? Instead of acknowledging all the things that are working in your life. So by writing down that gratitude list every day, you're going to feel good. And I just cannot stress it enough. When you feel good, you perform good. And when you perform good, what kind of results do you think you generate? You're going to generate really good results, which, by the way, makes you feel good, and the whole cycle keeps working in your favor. Number 2, I want you to continue to schedule that hour of power. Remember, this is the motor that makes everything work in Breakthrough. So you've got to dedicate yourself to schedule that hour and then follow through. Make your calls, send your text messages, book your appointments. Number 3, as always, schedule 1 to 2 hours this week to work on your business and on your project. I can only imagine what your doing, and done board looks like now. It probably looks like most of our best clients, packed full of lots of ideas you want to implement, and many projects that you're in process on. And I bet at this point of Breakthrough by Design, you've got a few on the done board, and I know how good that makes you feel. Number 4, schedule some time to identify the communities you want to market to. You know, this whole geographic conversation, the most important thing is in selecting the right community where you like the houses, you know the numbers, you know that either there's a dominant agent that you can beat, or that there is no dominant agent and that this is right for the taking. Number 5, write out a plan for how you're going to consistently market to that new geographic farm. 2 touches a month is the game changer. That's the difference that makes the difference. So how are you going to get that done? Are you going to outsource it? Are you going to use check equity? Or is it sweat equity? Which means if you're going to send your first piece on the 1st of the month and the second one on the 3rd of the month, you might need to schedule in the month prior, the last week of the month, print my marketing piece for the first week in my farm, and then again in the second week, print my piece to be ready to have it delivered in the 3rd week. Write down this thought, and I haven't shared it with you yet, so it might be a new one. I believe that it works like this. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. So just like I've been reminding you every week, schedule your hour of power, schedule the 1 to 2 hours you're going to work on your business with your marketing. If you don't schedule the time to get it done, it simply doesn't happen. So if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't get done. So it's got to be in our calendar. It's got to be, whether that's on your phone or old school, you're opening it up and you're writing it in. Either way is fine, just make sure it's in the schedule. Number 6, and the last one, I want to invite you again to visit the website and begin to download all these different marketing pieces so you can look at the samples and you can decide where you want to cut their head off and put yours on and change the phone number and get them out into your farm. Remember, that's what the best agents do. They're not reinventing the wheel. That's why you're doing this program. You want to take the proven systems that are already working for others and make them work for you. So thank you so much. In closing, I wrote down for you, we've done 6 of 10 sessions. You should be so proud of yourself. We've accomplished so much. And just in the last 4 weeks, we've covered a lot of ground. We've looked at referral campaigns, online marketing, mega open houses, and now geographic farming. So this week, go for a breakthrough. Continue to follow through where you normally quit. And that's when the breakthrough begins. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next session. This was an intentionally shorter training. Why? Because geographic farming is a big opportunity and is going to require, on your part, some thought process. What markets are we going to go after? What homes make the most sense for you? Is this in your budget? So the most important thing for you now is to do your due diligence, is to do your homework. Now, if you get stuck and you're thinking, I might want to do this, but I'm not sure, this would be a good time to pick up the phone and call my office and speak with one of my expert coaches who can help you analyze, is it the right move for you now, or perhaps should it be in 3 or 6 months when finances are ready or the market is bearing the ultimate results you want to produce. So, do your due diligence, do your homework, know your market, and if you need more help, pick up the phone, talk to one of our coaches, and let's help you make the right decision to create the next great breakthrough in your business.
Alright. So, it's interesting how this is the shortest of the bunch, but in my opinion, it's the most impactful on a career. You have your sphere, you know, your database, which is important. And then you have the internet, which is where, you know, 90+% of people start looking online. And then beyond that, what are you gonna do? You know, for people you don't know. If you have a huge database, you can make a career off of everybody you know. But at some point in time, if you're gonna have a true career, you're gonna have to find a way to get people you don't know to use you. And having your farm, having your open houses, and doing them in a central location is the fastest way to make you the expert, make people think that you're successful, that you're busy, that you know what's going on. It tackles so many things. And you will take the amount of the top of mind and make it on steroids because they have no choice but to see you coming and going every weekend. They're seeing your signs numerous times. You know, eventually once you get 1 or 2 listings in that neighborhood, they're gonna see your sign and actually see you doing business in there. And it's just huge. Like, I can't, if it wasn't for my farm when I first got into the business, I wouldn't have had my business. It was, it took 6 months to build it, but by doing my 2 newsletters and basically door knocking, I had people last year that recognized me. They're like, "Were you door knocking in that neighborhood years ago?" It's like, "Yes, I was." They're like, "You knocked on our door." It's like, seriously? They remember
Yeah,
hauling
how
in the
did
wagon
you-
and everything.
How did you determine that this is what because I remember, you know, when we were helping you with that newsletter, but how did you determine this is what I want to do?
I had my plan when I got into it, which was I modeled everything off of two things. I got The Millionaire Real Estate Agent from Gary Keller, read that book. And then it just so happened, simultaneously I was leaving my neighborhood and this lady was having a yard sale. And just a miracle basically, we stopped for no reason. I never stop at yard sales. And perusing, and she happened to have Floyd Wickman's Sweat Hogs course, which the tapes.
Yeah.
I mean, and it had the workbook and everything. I think it was from 1985 or 86 probably. And she had it, and I was like, "Oh, how much?" And I don't even know. I think $5 or something. So I bought it and used it, and that was his thing. And that's the theme of Sweat Hogs, is that you're doing your sweat equity. Anybody can throw money at something, but it takes the real people to be able to go out there and do it. And that's what he was talking about: door knocking, phone calling, open houses, becoming the neighborhood expert. And so,
Rick is here to pick
Okay.
cool.
What's your thought then, Kim, about, like, sounds like you have an idea maybe where you want to start?
Is this,
Yeah, I'm
this is
actually
for
looking
the,
at my best friend's neighborhood.
this is the landscape
I actually
one?
have
Or
like
the-
4
Said,
friends
yeah,
that
this
all
account
live
for some
in the
reason,
same
not the
area,
GMB account
and
for
there
Jane
seems to
Cash.
be, I have to
Yeah,
research
no,
it. because I
exactly. The
didn't
landscaping
know
was smaller and it's
that we
monthly
could do that, or
expense.
how to do it. I guess I
And
don't
so
know.
since it was
I'm
smaller than
not-
we thought,
I'm
we
not
just
do
tacked
that.
on a little bit
Um,
more per month.
I
Okay.
need to look at
So,
the numbers
yeah.
and
So
see
that
if
makes
it's
sense
really
then.
as good as it appears to be. It's a little ways away from me, but it's definitely, it's the right price. It should be a large enough area and, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey Fred, can we do an update on your neighborhood just to see if it's changed in the last 5 or 6 months?
Not really,
Have you seen any sales?
a couple.
Okay, because
Couple listings.
you don't have 1,000 homes in that neighborhood, so they're tackling the area around yours too then, by significant, because that neighborhood was good.
What's your,
let's pull up that neighborhood.
what's your subdivision?
85053.
No, what's your subdivision?
Go ahead and pull it
Rachel
up.
and Kendall.
His is weird. We'll do a map search for it.
Okay, so go back to,
You can do it there if
okay,
you want.
right here in Munson?
Well, Rancho and Canto, I guess he knew it right off the top.
Can
Well,
I
right
search
here?
on you? Cause it's just like, what,
Monsoon.
Manana?
Let's double check. I don't think it's Maricopa County owned. I think it's, because it's put on by, Arizona Association, I think.
Did I spell Encanto correct?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. All right,
Okay,
so
so-
this is, 805.
minus a fair amount. Okay, so let's say approximately 800, but you'll see, go ahead and go to the MLS and let's compare it. Because the actual MLS,
Okay,
yeah.
so let me, great.
Next one over.
Okay. So we'll do a quick search?
Well, just keep that, but edit and switch to the neighborhoods. You already have the search criteria we wanted, just edit the search.
Okay, so I'm
Click
sorry.
off of that, go over to the right.
Over to the right.
Yeah, just click, not on anything in particular, just, there you go. Okay, now edit search. And let's switch to the neighborhood.
And you said Rancho Encanto? No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's 23,000 homes in that zip code.
Yeah, zip code is so
19,
broad though,
so
we need
let's
to do
see.
that. Yeah, okay. 19 out of 800 and something, because that's not right. Yeah, see, okay, pull up, notice the zip codes, 85053, 85053. Okay, no, you'll see that there's gonna be a difference in the homes in particular. Do you know which one yours is? Your Rancho Encanto unit, what was it? Because his is the nicer portion. That's
Either
the
60
beauty.
homes among.
There it is. Okay, it's Rancho
1,000
Encanto Terrace. Go down. His is go down there. Yours is the terrace one, right? That's your
So let
portion.
me put in Rancho
Yeah.
Encanto Terrace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, Rancho Encanto is actually the better
Rancho
one.
Encanto Terrace.
Oh.
Yeah, his has like no sales, but Rancho
Okay,
Encanto on the other
But so
side.
Rancho Encanto has full 19 then.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you, what would?
Okay, go ahead and go back. Click on it to view the results. How many? Go ahead and do the CMA. Let's do that. Because he can include the terrace, but that's not where the majority of stuff will be.
All right, well, this is kind of cool. 3 active, 2 under contract, 14 have closed in the last year.
Okay. And that was
Alright.
out of 800?
Yeah, so you're gonna be looking at less
Yeah.
than,
Let's see.
how many was there?
14, let's say divided by 800.
800.
Yeah, you're at 1.7%,
Yeah, so
So-
not even,
2%. Which is awesome. I mean, it means it's a good neighborhood. Unfortunately, that means it's a terrible neighborhood to make your farm. Yeah, because, just for giggles, pull up,
Other-
right back here off of, let's do a map search. Yeah. Go ahead, yeah, click
so
that.
let me edit it.
Yep, and take off the subdivision. Alright, and then go up to the right under compare map search.
Uh-huh.
No, under map search, yeah. Okay. And then, zoom in to, go ahead and hit that X, to get rid of that pop-up right there. Okay, now go ahead and zoom into the area of,
We're at,
I'm trying to think which one I wanna do. Okay, let's go ahead and do 35th Avenue and,
Go
Union.
south of the 101,
Yeah, right there is what exactly.
35th Avenue.
Yep,
You're north.
yep, keep
oh,
going.
but
Yeah, keep
what
going.
part of, are we
Yeah,
looking
keep going.
at this
Yeah, you're
up
almost
here?
there. Yeah, you're almost there.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Okay, so right there, right where Yorkshire, kind of take that area. Do you want the Bell Road between Bell and Union, or do you want?
35th and Bell.
Yeah. So go ahead and do that whole little section right
All right, so we're looking at, where am I gonna go?
there. Go from the corner of Bell and go south to basically, we're gonna do that basically the square mile. there.
From 43rd
Bell
or
and
just
I-17.
on this side? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
go
sorry.
from 35th, 27th Avenue and Bell to 35th Avenue up to Greenway. Yeah, do that one.
Okay, so
Right there.
just do, and then from Greenway, or should I
Yep.
start down here?
It doesn't matter,
And
just
then
that
up
square.
to,
Just that square right there. No, not all the way up, just Bell. Yeah.
right here?
Yep.
And
go
then
over
how far
to
over?
35th. Other way to 35th.
Oh, 35th, sorry.
There you go, right there. Yep. Okay. 52. Jeez. For a square mile, that is not a lot for a year. Wow. Go ahead and click on it.
Let's see what we got. Let me pull up the CMA, okay?
Yeah.
This is interesting, because look, we still have a lot of activity though, you know, so. Okay, so 54142. And how much did I see? That was, we didn't actually pull up how many.
Oh, not for that square mile, no. But I
What do
just.
you think? So not a lot of activity.
Can you do a map search in IMAP? Is it easy?
Well, let me,
Not IMAP, sorry, Monsoon. Go, to the, right next to every door, right?
let me find where I'm at. Oh, right here?
Yeah. Yeah, go to map and see if we can do it.
Okay, hold on, now I'm gonna learn how to do that. Where's map?
Next to Rose. Just up to the.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. So then you can see where they are.
So this is saying 20 homes, 38 homes. Is that what these 53?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's each of the communities, maybe? I don't know.
Let me just look and find out.
Palmcroft Estates. Ooh, yep. Yeah.
And that is, how do you know how many? Oh, 805. So this must have been your subdivision, Fred.
Yeah, but
I had
it's
clicked on
that
it, didn't know
subdivision,
that.
I wanted to see how big that was, and if you pull out, you can see that it's actually a significant portion. So
Yeah.
basically, so I'd say maybe 2,000 homes between Bell and Greenway there, probably.
Yeah.
And so
So-
40, that's a very desirable area, I wouldn't have thought. And look at that, there's only one red.
Foreclosure, yeah. Everyone is still selling colors.
Have any
It's
luck?
not connecting to my hotspot. Can I do this as a password?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Are you in breakthrough admin?
Which one? Oh, we got 3.
There's the 5G showing up.
5G is property.
There we go. All lowercase.
All right, so where do I go?
Well, if we want to find a different neighborhood, or I don't know, I just wanted to see what his was in total. That whole square mile doesn't have any sales. 40, what was it, 40 total, 45?
45. Because, let me see. Was it over here?
Because to put that in comparison, go ahead and pull up Arrowhead Ranch, and just to show, Arrowhead Ranch, for example, has so many sales, it's ridiculous.
Okay, so let's see.
And then scroll up and undo the, oh, now you undo. Yeah. Scroll up and undo that square, that rectangle.
Oh, let's see.
No, you were right next to it.
Sorry.
Go up, no, don't click that, Mom, go back to where you were, on the left. Go to where you were on the left, all the way, to the left of the screen.
To the left of the screen. Okay. Oh, left.
You're on the left.
Sorry.
Down. No, you just, okay, take your time, okay, to go about an inch and a half up, there you go.
I didn't know that was
There you go,
there.
okay.
Cause I usually click on the box itself and then delete it.
I didn't know when to do that, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So 135. Okay, here, hold on. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so how do you wanna zoom in on this?
Well, go ahead and just view them for right now. Or
Okay,
and do
all
a same ag.
135?
Yeah,
Okay.
just have them do a same ag really quick.
Let's see.
Oh, there's.
Where's my CMA?
I thought you needed to get into it
But
first.
you know, hold on.
Oh, your popcorn.
Here,
Yeah, the
let me do
popcorn.
this, yeah. Alright, so,
And then go ahead and go into Monsoon and pull up the neighborhood to find out how many there are.
find which one's monsoon. Is this monsoon? And just pull up, what was it called? Arrowhead Estates? No, Arrowhead what?
Yeah, Arrowhead Ranch.
Oh, Ranch. $4,056.
Okay. Unfortunately, this is gonna pull up a lot of businesses. Go ahead and view them.
So do you want me, which one do you want me to view?
No, just scroll down. Oh, wait, yeah, sorry, this is different.
You want me to just pull like, cause I'm wondering, what's the red? Oh, 100 to 99,
Yeah.
999, so.
Yeah, cause it's pulling up, not just Arrowhead Ranch, it's pulling up Arrowhead Lakes
Westbrook Village,
Westbrook Village is a good one, yeah. Let's do that neighborhood.
it's right next door.
Yeah.
Westbrook Village?
Yep. Great golf course.
Westbrook Village, yeah. It's a plus
I guess,
55 community.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are, they're beautiful homes up there.
How many we got?
All right, you're looking at a total of 4198.
98. Okay. And then,
But you have like specific in here, and then here's only 9, but here's 32 in this part.
how many homes popped up under Arrowhead?
It was a little over 4,000.
Okay. Because if that was the case, that would be 2.5% in general,
But let me ask something, because based on this, this says then likelihood, this one is definitely over populated with like sales, or are we saying,
there's nothing to be had about this one. We're just pulling up
Yeah.
the tax records of how many homes there are.
I'm sorry, I can take a message, it's for Squaw Valley property.
Ooh, nice.
oh, that's all right.
Okay.
Okay, what's the actual
Hi,
word?
this is Charlotte.
For
How
what?
can I help
The
you?
monsoon.
Well, monsoon is what we use for as real estate agents. It becomes an MLS. I'm not sure how other people have it. Hers is, I don't want to check something here real fast because this is not coming up.
Well, technically it is more than one piece, but the owner has already sold a section of it. So like when you pull into the property for sale was what's gonna be on your right, the home and the garage shed area there, all of that on the right. And the single wide
There we
is
go.
what's,
Okay.
is sold and it's
4,056.
not
All right.
part of
And
this.
then we can see that there's a lot of businesses in Arrowhead, so that was the catch with that one. Yeah.
You know, that's a good question. Hold on a
So that's the
second.
only catch, is
Let me
trying to
pull
factor in
that
the
all
right
up.
amount of businesses. Okay, so let's see,
Well,
what's
you
your
know
address?
what? I just stepped away from my computer, so let me pull it up, okay?
Kim, what's your address?
The one that I want. to
Or do you know the
search.
neighborhood? Yeah.
I was just asking for the,
Is it right in Tucson?
yeah, here we go, like, okay, so I was looking in Erin's neighborhood, and I just have her street. I don't know the name of her neighborhood. I don't
Do you know her name? Like her, is it her, did she buy the house?
Yeah, her and her husband.
Okay, what's, is it Erin Lee? Is
Uh,
that her actual name?
I think it would be separated, so I think just try Aaron Montes or Michael Montes, Montez, yeah.
Ah, I can't tell. There we go.
Okay.
Erin, Sunny Hills Estates.
Yeah.
Information right now, so hold on
Okay,
a second
so then,
here. Now, are you up there? I mean, are you looking to
1,850
buy,
square
or
feet.
what's your need?
loans in his name. That doesn't happen, usually it's in the woman's name.
She had just started her nursing job at the
Okay.
time, so.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the MLS is not gonna have much. So that's where, because ours is Maricopa County. So yours will, once you're able to get yours and we sign up, then we'll have full access to your MLS and we'll be able to fully pull up comps and all that stuff realistically.
All right,
But,
so you are
for
looking
right now,
at
we can at least
225.
look up Sunny Hill Estates
And,
here and determine if
It's a
it's a big
two-bedroom,
neighborhood, small
two-bath
neighborhood,
home, it's a
whatever.
little over 1,700 square feet. It's kind of, just a unique but cute little, floor plan on the inside, so definitely would love to show you, you know, what it looks
Of
like.
course, it automatically
What
goes
else?
to
Yeah.
Zillow.
They pay good money for.
225 is out of your range? Okay,
Good. Do it right. What happened?
Sunny Hills?
Sunny Hills?
Yeah.
okay, yeah, cause I was gonna say, if you wanna see it, would absolutely
The
love
heck?
to show you the
What just
property.
happened there?
You know, it never hurts to put in an offer and just to see, you know, what the owner might do.
That is easy,
But,
yeah.
it's like whatever we can do to help you what you're
Sunny
looking for.
Hills Estates. I think it's the
You
one
are so
combination I did
welcome.
not put.
All right, bye-bye.
Cool. Only 191 properties there.
Really? I guess in that neighborhood, yeah, because there's a ton of different neighborhoods right there.
There are. Aaron left. Yeah. So, just for giggles, I want to see this in my neighborhood. All right, 476 properties in mine.
Farm near neighborhood. There's a lot of. Let's see where.
Come on. You can do it. Why is it not updating?
This other neighborhood I'm interested in is a lot more spread out. They're older homes on bigger lots.
Come on. Come on. Why isn't it loading? This is silly. Oh, she timed out. Or somebody logged in. Did she log in? I bet she logged in. Unfortunately, the MLS only stays logged in for like 24 hours, so every once in a while you're gonna get logged out, which is frustrating when that happens. Okay, so we were active pending closed, and then we were over on Hills, right? That's where we were this time. And our date was a year ago. Whoa, there we go. My neighborhood rocks. 476 homes, and we have,
It's like the perfect size and numbers.
yeah, we've had 27 sales,
Okay,
26
yes,
or 27
thank
sales
you.
out of 400 some odd. Yeah, my
Sit up.
neighborhood lines up, Mom. It's so far, it's on the surface the best farm. The numbers just line up.
So what
Oh,
have you been
nice.
doing?
Well, not farming my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at this. Monsieur, 476 properties, and in the MLS right now, there's 2 active, and we've had a total of 33. But what was it? Yeah, 7. So that's 20, 37, 36.
And so when you do facts and figures and stuff? Okay.
27.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's an investment. So as much as we'd like to have certain neighborhoods, it just do what's in your best interest. Seriously, there was a lady in that spoke at Sales Edge 2 weeks ago, and last year I think they did $265,000 GCI from their farm, and albeit their farm's 1,500 homes I think they're up to now. But they started off at 5 and just incrementally grew it and grew it and grew it as they owned it.
All right. So does this help with what you want to do?
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of information.
So do you kind of have a plan that's formulating?
So I've got to farm his neighborhood. If you're gonna waste your time, waste it in the best neighborhood. Huh?
True. Yeah, I mean, it's on numbers wise, it's a good neighborhood.
Do you notice with the signs you see out, is it usually the same company? Is there anybody whose face pops up a lot?
Well, okay, now you're getting into the next stuff, okay, which is perfect. Okay, so
You wanna find out, so how
just
do
click
you,
on listing number.
this
That
one?
row,
Oh,
by
right
go to
here.
the top, yep, and it'll organize them by that. So go and click it, and whichever one, doesn't matter. Okay, and look for a duplicate. If you see anybody that has more than 2 or 3, then that means that, you know, they have a decent share, because we're talking 33 homes, which would mean
2 from our call.
2 is fine. If they have more than like 3, I would say that they have a farm, and that would be real competition.
Two
Lot
for
team.
Dan.
Fred! He's my old shoe mentor at Dillard's.
Oh, yeah?
This
Yeah,
Fred?
that's Fred.
Ah.
Remember I told you my buff guy in a pink shirt story?
Yeah.
That's Fred.
So you really don't have one person, you just have those 2 people that have 2 listings, but other than that, there are agents from all over.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that's perfect. Yeah. Because your goal was 33, if you could have 33%, so that means your goal is to actually have like 10 of those sales, pretty much. And you can do it if you focus. Catch this, most people just don't focus. They'll do an open house over here. Next month they'll do an open house over here. Next month they'll do an open house over here. They'll do a mailer here. Next month they'll do a mailer over here. They may do a month or 2 later another mailer. You know, they'll put a Facebook ad or a post this week, and then they'll wait 4 days and do another. It's just focusing your efforts in the right way to make sure, and it's huge. I can't wait for somebody to truly utilize it, and you'll see, and we'll be able to run with that because it will impress and motivate everyone.
I was just so excited because I knew that would be the perfect neighborhood, you know, I might still work it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was your
Right.
old neighborhood or your new
Where we
neighborhood?
just moved from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And keep in mind, right now, the numbers are a little skewed because we don't have enough homes for sale. We don't have enough selection, and so if we don't have enough selection, obviously the numbers are not going to be as high as they need to and should be. So if it's at like 4.7, round up, because it would most likely be at a 6 if we had enough listings. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But the cool thing too with every door direct,